Hello fellow YouTubers, disciples and followers. This is a film about the Marantz PM7000N, which is a streaming integrated amp. It's the first Marantz integrated amplifier to use Heos streaming inbuilt. Now, I'm not going through all the technical aspects of this amplifier in this video. Click on the link in the YouTube description for the article on my website where I do that. This film is going to just be about operation and sound quality. The app that this streaming integrated amp uses is called Heos, and that's common to Denon and Marantz because they're all part of the same firm called Sound United, an American firm. Now, before you can use it, you've got to sign up, so you've got to get an account, and then you just simply download the app free. My experiences are that this app is at least as good as Sonos and as good as pretty much every app that I've tried. I wouldn't say it's as good as Roon, but then Roon is the class leader really. But in terms of Yamaha Musiccast, DCS Mosaic, the Blue Sound app, obviously the Sonos app, it's up there with all of them, if not probably the best. It's also a UPnP streamer, which means universal plug and play. That sounds complicated to some people who don't know what it is, but basically it's a means of recognizing a drive on your network, a music containing drive or a computer on your network for which it can access and play those files. Now, the reason why I say that this app is right up there as being as good as pretty much any app that you can try is because it has the functionality to use Heos with other Heos speakers. So you can use a Heos standalone speaker and you can use this, and you can sync those together, or you can play individual tracks off those different sources. Streaming wise, this integrated does Tidal, it does Spotify Connect. You can play high-res files from the Amazon Music service, the Ultra HD service. Unfortunately, no Quobuzz high-res on this streamer because the Heos app doesn't support it. It's very welcome on this amplifier to have both bass and treble knobs, something that's often left out of hi-fi nowadays. The two big round dials are one for input and the other for volume, a lower balance knob obviously, and then various function buttons around a 3-line display which are used for scrolling through music and selecting music, etc. Not forgetting, of course, this little button on the front called Source Direct. Anyone who's any familiarity with these types of amplifiers will know this is to bypass the tone controls, bass and treble, and it does have a subtle effect at improving sound quality. You notice the sound is a little bit less compressed and it's more elevated and just a touch more detail. It's pretty well made. I like the way they've used these little bronze screws around the case. Obviously the main sticky out bits in the middle there are the speaker terminals. I've also got a subwoofer output. Connections for a recording device, I'm not going to go into those because I don't think many people will be using that. There are auxiliary and CD RCA inputs, also a phono stage input for connecting up a turntable. And then in the top left hand corner you've got a suite of digital inputs, optical, coaxial RCA, 2 Toslink stroke optical digital inputs, which by the way are optimized for 24192 material, not the usual 2496, which is the theoretical limit of Toslink. The USB input is of a type for connecting up pen drives, not a USB 2 input from your server source or computer for asynchronous USB input. Also to the side you'll see a network Ethernet slot if you want to hardwire the unit to the network. Alternatively, you've got two Wi-Fi aerials you can screw in. These are like a PC type aerials, and they also deal with Bluetooth. With streaming, what normally happens is you turn your streamer on, sit down, find your app, open it, scroll through the music. You might dither around for 1 or 2 minutes to try and find the track you want to listen to, and then you press play. And doing that, you might spend 2 to 3 minutes getting from the stage of turning on your HiFi to actually listening to music. The difference with this Marantz is you can turn it on, it recognises what's in the play queue in the Heos app, and it starts playing straight away. And after that, you can then operate it in situ on its front fascia, or you can use remote control, and then you can sit down and you can start playing around with the Heos app. This approach of controlling your HiFi on the main unit is kind of quite old school, because that's how we used to do things. But if you think about it, it's now lost in the world of tablets and streaming. And I think a lot of HiFi manufacturers can learn a lesson from Marantz here, because they kind of expect you to do all the things on the iPad and lose functionality at the unit. And that means that you spend more time getting the music up and playing. This amp, that doesn't happen. This Marantz has a nice sparkly treble and a deep rounded mid bass. It will be suitable for all but the smooth brigade, the people that like really smooth amplifiers, tube amplifiers. I note that one commentating magazine said that they thought it's the best detailed integrated streaming amplifier in its class, and I can see why they say that, because it gives an impression. Well, it's more than an impression. It's put it this way, it's not lacking in detail for its type. Hey Google, turn on Marantz and play.
Sure, turning Marantz on.
I actually think that's one of the takeouts of reviewing this amplifier, that, you know, it makes you think that you don't really need audiophile sounding amplifiers because there's so much detail at this level at £1,000. It's not going to be as detailed sounding as HiFi, many multiples in price. You wouldn't expect it to, but it's giving of itself very well at the price, and it's not something that you can think I'm being shortchanged in the detail department. That's a takeout from this review that I've taken big time. It's got a really nice low bass and it's extended, and that's welcome considering this is a 60 watt amplifier. Fantastic. I would say that it's not quite as dynamic in the bass department as a Cyrus 1 cast that I looked at, but unsurprisingly that's much higher power output. It's also a Class D design, so I think you could probably expect that. Marantz does have though is just a nicer, more dynamic mid bass, and overall it's a tonally more even listen. Which would you prefer? I think both of these amplifiers are good amplifiers. and it's going to come down to taste. But there's no doubt, I think that this is a slightly more relaxed sounding amplifier than the Cyrus. Class D has all but shaken off its image of, you know, insidious treble and hiked up high frequencies, but you still can notice a slight nuanced edginess in the music with the Class D amplification in the Cyrus. You don't get with this amplifier. Obviously, it's a Class AB design. In terms of speaker matching, I found that it did suit my PMCs, the 2523s, even though they're quite a bit more expensive. The PMCs are really, really dynamic, and you didn't lose out there at all because speakers are already really, really good in that department. With some definitive technology, demand D11s, they have a nice soft mid bass, and that seemed to complement that type of sound in the speaker. The Marantz complemented that. With some neat Iota Alpha speakers I have at the moment too, not quite as well matched because the neat is a rear ported design. It also has a floor firing bass driver, and you really need really accurate low bass in order for them to sound really, really good. I just thought the Marantz was a little bit diffuse in the lowest of bass to really suit these speakers. This amplifier is clearly going to suit lots and lots of speakers. For the money, I mean, £1,000, it's just tremendous. And I'm not just saying that just to big up a product, because I'm putting this amplifier against £7,000 worth of Cyrus Audio signature electronics, and it's doing a good job against those amps. What is so annoying about this amp, in a good consumer way by the way, to us audiophiles who have spent many thousands more on hi-fi, is how it's just chipping away at that type of hi-fi. Anyway, I hope you've got something out of this little video. Thanks for watching, and please remember to hit subscribe. Continue to get more videos from me.